Good morning, and welcome back to the podcast. So, I listen to a lot of different podcasts throughout the day, and I listen to a few by people who are working in or have worked with, like, TV and like big name media companies for like shoots and stuff, and all of them like kind of talk about how it's so much more expensive and complicated. Just everything about doing traditional media is a lot more restrictive and just like you can't do as much. And some of them talking about, streaming is getting more popular, and like traditional television is kind of losing a lot of audience. And I think it's just because people had started trying way too hard to make everything appeal to everybody. Like, the non-traditional media of like YouTube and like live streaming, like, really kind of has better appeal because there are more unique opportunities to watch things. And like, I would never watch YouTube as my main source of entertainment if it was all TV show kind of production stuff, like where it was just mass appeal, storyline, that kind of thing. I like watching YouTube over like traditional TV because the YouTubers I watch are just individual people, and they have more specific channels that really are stuff that I want to watch, because that's kind of stuff specific that I feel more relatable to in a way. And so they might only get 50 or 100,000 people who watch their videos, but those videos, because they are lower production costs, make more than an episode of a TV show, which will make them more money than being in an episode of a TV show, which gets millions of viewers. And like, also just traditional TV is like 30% ads, 25 to 30% ads. Like, nobody is ever going to watch anything on streaming or on like YouTube that is more than like 1% ad. Well, or a little more than that, but just like, even the worst ads on YouTube are like a minute long. That's like 2 unskippable 30-second ads, or a longer ad that you have to watch 30 seconds of. But just like, that is such a small amount of ads for the length of the video, and even if there's a sponsorship in the video, that's like a minute out of the whole video, and even if the video is only like 15 minutes long, that's still way less than any kind of traditional media. Like, if you try and watch TV, it's just ad after ad after ad. And I do not personally have a problem with ads, because I 100% understand that is how they pay for it. Well, when you have to pay $100+ a month to access the channel, that I think that is kind of ridiculous. Like, paying less than $20 for a wide variety of content. I would understand if they still needed a few ads, but it's not like, it doesn't cost that much for them to do that well, that's the thing for traditional TV and media. It does cost so much to produce all of it that they don't make money back off of ads alone, and there's so many middlemen involved that they can't afford it. But you know, if you go the more streaming route, you can have less ads but get more money. And I just don't understand why so many people are still super resistant to streaming. Like, I know the music industry is like notorious for how awful and just uncooperative they are on every front with any kind of reproduction of their licensed material. Like, you have to pay so much money to be able to use music in any way. Like, and they don't do like one-time deals or like licensed music in perpetuity for a single use. Like, it's always a very complicated, long legal document that expires after like 1 year and costs like $8,000, and that's not even for popular music, that's just for your standard music. And so it's just like, yeah, I don't know how they expect that to continue, like, just stubbornly saying no to anything else. But the second there's a music producer and like record label that is willing to work with streaming in a way that others aren't, they're gonna do so much better, because they're just gonna get money for all these things, and people are gonna start using their services because they're the only ones who cooperate, and then it'll change the whole industry, I'm sure. But it's gonna take one of them stepping out of line, which businesses do not like doing. So much of doing business is just trying to stay in line and not do anything disruptive. That way you don't take on any risk, because it's all about being risk averse in business, which I really don't think is what's best for, you know, the economy and business as a whole. I think that people are far too worried about, you know, growth, and not worried enough about just, you know, doing stuff. Because you need to just do stuff sometimes. And as long as you're making enough to pay all your employees and yourself, then shouldn't really matter too much, but the second a business goes public, suddenly they have a board whose only job is to make more money for people who own the business, and since nobody owns the business directly and can say, I'd rather you take risks, they just do whatever's safest. Which, yeah, I know the public ownership of companies and all is kind of essential to the way our economy is currently run, but I don't know. It just feels like it has kind of created a bit of a stalling of innovation. Like, all the companies just are like super innovative when they're small and owned by only a few people who are willing to take the risk and just do a lot of stuff. But then the second that they start going public, the original investors and original people behind the company make their money and get out, and then even if they stay with a large share of the company, they just end up not really having as big of an effect, and then the company kind of just stalls while they try to just make steady profits. And then once they're worth a few $1 billion, they're ready to put more resources into research and development. But even then, they just find all these things with their research and development and only produce the ones that they think are going to make them a ton of money. So it's just, I think that's the main thing I just struggle with working in business and dealing with business is everyone just wants to put the blame on somebody else if things go wrong and make sure whatever they do is at least slightly profitable. I think it's kind of to the detriment of business as a whole. But that's all the time I have for now. And I'm back. So I was working on a network map. Because we're going to be setting up our network tomorrow, and I wanted to make sure it was all laid out, and some of the other people I work with that are working on it are not as used to dealing with the internet networks, and so they kind of didn't fully understand some of the, like, where everything was and what was being put where as much. So I drew up a network map, and I'm thinking that'll help. But I was using I just wanted to get it done real quick. I didn't really want to put the effort in to draw it myself, so I just typed it into Microsoft's AI and just said, okay, here's the network layout, and it's the internet comes into the modem and router, which then goes to Wi-Fi extenders, the VoIP converter, and the it goes from the modem to the router Wi-Fi extenders, VoIP to phone converter, and a network switch, which then the network switch and phone switch both go into a patch panel, which then goes out into the office as, the just wall cables. But, and like, the AI immediately understood it, did like a basic little text map, but it had, and then I had what room everything was in and like where it was on the wall or in the server rack. And when it did it in text, it was like completely right. And I was like, great, this is going to take like less than 5 minutes because I just had to type it out. And so I just told it to generate an image, and it could not for the life of it generate an image that showed all the parts correctly. Like the first time it had the like network switch before any of the other stuff. Like it always got internet going into the modem, but then after that it was just complete chaos. Like it could not get a correct could not get a correct image out of that, even though it had the it generated a little like text with lines going to certain things, and it did that perfectly every single time I asked it to, but it just could not get an image out of it. And I'm not exactly sure why. It just would not work. But so I just spent like 20 minutes and did it myself. And like it wasn't that hard, but I just did some boxes and arrows and all that because I wanted it to be a little more visual, and recolored I recolored the phone line versus the internet line that way, because one of the people I was working with was confused as to where it converted from internet to phone and how that worked. I think I got a good visual representation of it down, so that should help a lot. But I just thought it was very funny that the AI knew exactly what it was doing, but just could not figure out an image. I do think that's kind of where it's at right now in terms of AI computing power, for sure. It seems to be able to see, be able to talk through things a little better, but not really generate an image as well. I actually, it's weird how accessible AI has become, because it wasn't even 3 years ago when it was first kind of getting started. You had to pay a subscription and create an account and set up this whole thing just to use a very basic version. And now, for this podcast, the image on here, I just generated on my phone, and it's not even something I pay for. The company I got my phone from is not even I have a Motorola, and it's not even who I pay for my phone service. It's not an app from them, it's a Motorola app. They just have it on everything now, and the one I was using earlier was from Microsoft Office, and it's just part of it now. But I generate the image for the thumbnail for this podcast on my phone, just 5 minutes of just kind of adjusting parameters. I originally wanted to do a Phoenix on fire in the kind of setting that I have as the background, but I couldn't get the AI to generate a flaming phoenix. There might be something like do not show dying animals, so a bird that was on fire might have been not allowed, or maybe it just couldn't do it. I don't know, but I just could not get it to generate a bird with flames. So, but I like the image it did generate. It looks pretty cool. And I'm still wanting to get an actual like artistic representation done by a human, but that costs money, or at least it costs time and effort that I just do not have right now, because for a digital version, I don't really want to learn how to do that. For physical artistic rendering, I'd like to get my wife to do one because she paints, but she doesn't always have the time, and I don't want to make her do something for me when she's busy with her own projects in her free time. So I might do that in the future, though, just figure it out. Yeah, I want to kind of do a cool like logo, so I might need to figure out how to do digital art like that, or get a very good picture of a physical art piece. It would look cool in an oil painting, I bet. That'd be cool. But, oh, yeah, just working with AI has become so commonplace now that it's just kind of, anytime I'm writing an email and I can't quite figure out how to phrase something, I just paste it into an AI and it writes it up for me in a little better language. And, you know, if you get an email that you're a little confused on the meaning of, you can ask for clarification. Like the one on my phone now, you can just, if you have like 30 missed messages or whatever, you can just double tap a button and it'll summarize everything you received. It's really cool. Quite interesting how it's gotten into everything. Like, I don't fully trust it still, and I'm not like a big, AI is going to change everything, but it is nice to just have a little, hey, this is kind of what's going on, or here, let me help you rephrase that. It's like Clippy, but more versatile. I don't even know if most people these days remember Clippy or know about Clippy, the little paperclip assistant for old Microsoft that would kind of help teach you how to use certain features on your computer. Kind of cool. Oh, I thought that was a quail. That's a dove. I could go for quail. Anyway, that's all the time I have for now. For y'all and an hour for me. And we're back. Oh, talking just now about trip going to for the trip for Independence Day. No, just tried to plan that, and, you know, I don't know about everybody else, but I always just kind of try and get everything planned ahead of time. I like planning for trips. I'm not one of those that has like a scheduled itinerary for everything we're gonna do, but I do like making a list to make sure that there's plenty of we got plenty of time. Oh, sorry, there was traffic for a second. I had to concentrate. But yeah, I like kind of planning it out ahead of time and making sure we have plenty of everything we need. I was just kind of already, it's still 2 days until we are gonna head out. Like, we have all day tomorrow, and then the next morning is when we'll head out. But I was already at lunch kind of putting all the dry ingredients that we need to bring for different dishes we're planning on making. Trying to get things ready. I was trying to think if I want to buy fireworks or not. I don't think I am, just because my daughter's too young to play with them, and she might actually be afraid of the big ones, but she's too young to play with like sparklers or anything like that, or even the little poppets, really. So might see just what they kind of have. I always like getting some black cats. Just because I think they're a lot of fun. Just a string of black cats, but I don't know, I probably won't do that this year. Probably just be there to have some fun and help. Which need to figure out kind of what all, because they were thinking about getting a slide, like a water slide for the grandkids, which of course my daughter's too young to really play on that, but she might enjoy kind of splashing around still, which could be fun. But we need to make sure we have like a swim diaper, and we got her a little swimsuit, make sure it fits. It shouldn't be too much water, but yeah, you never know, and I like being careful. I know that my wife and I are very cautious parents, just because it's our first kid. I'm sure it's the main reason, but we're always very cautious and always try to keep her extra safe. Oh, ho, ho. Ho, 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 ho. You know, I like singing. And I like singing in the car, but I'm worried that if I do sing, it'll kind of potentially cause issues with like copyright or whatever, because you never know, and music copyright is such a hard thing to find on YouTube anyway, so figure out, navigate. I'd much rather just not have to deal with that, so probably won't use much music, if any, in any podcast or videos. That's why I'm hesitant to even record on long car rides, is because if my daughter's in the car, we usually let her watch TV while we're driving, and the little songs and audio from her Disney shows might show up on the audio, which I haven't tested, so maybe I should test that. I also haven't tested whether or not the highway would even be too loud, because it might be perfectly fine and I might be worried for nothing. Ooh, it's starting to rain kind of hard. That's nice. It's been raining a lot recently. Been a pretty wet summer so far. I hope it carries over into the winter this year, because I definitely like having a lot of snow. But yeah, I'm still thinking about trying to record a longer podcast like that. If my wife doesn't want to do it, I could also just record it talking on my own, but might not be as entertaining. Ho 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 ho. Mario, that's what that was. Oh, I promise you I can sing better than just those silly little stings that I do. Yeah, you know, okay, this person in front of me is just kind of swerving and braking a lot, so I gotta be a little careful. You know, I always just kind of not hesitate, but I always am a little extra cautious anytime I see somebody just kind of on their phone, or that I can clearly tell is not paying very good attention. Like this person. And then that person just... Oh, I do not like traffic. Which usually it's not bad on this drive. Like, I mainly drive on the highway, but that's not, it's not a very busy highway, so I have plenty of room and I can just kind of slow down a little if anyone's driving is concerning me. But on this little tiny stretch of road after I get off of the highway and before I turn onto the road I work on is just really bad, because there's merging from two directions and then a bunch of traffic because it's one of the busier roads in town. Oh. And then, of course, there's only one right turn lane and everyone waits till the last second thinking they're going to get ahead. Yep. But, anyway, you know, my wife and I were kind of talking about what our dream house would be the other day. And I'm almost at work, so this might have to be continued later if I remember. But we were talking about what we wanted in our dream house. And I was thinking I would really like, like a big porch. Because I like sitting outside kind of. And just having a nice relaxing, just sitting around outside, but it kind of, where we live, it gets a little hot and windy, so it's not always the easiest. I guess you just kind of forget, but I mean, where we live currently, like our current house, there's not much space for it, because we have a bit of a smaller backyard, which we have a couple chairs in, but it's not really the nicest place to go sit. But then sometimes we go out front, open the garage, and let our daughter play with some chalk. And I'll usually do some stuff in the garage, but that's not really the nicest either, because it's just our driveway and don't have any grass really, which I mean, I don't love grass lawns anyway. I prefer kind of gardens or more native plants, but I'd really like to have like a nice wooden porch and then have some nice scenery around, a few trees. I really want some pecan trees because I love pecans and would just really like to be able to have my own pecans. Could just crack them on myself. But it's weird how, your dream changes over time, but a lot of things kind of stay the same. Like the location I've had in mind stays the same every time. It's like out of town a ways on a couple of acres with some nice trees and a garden, kind of on the dirt road or lesser used road. Oh, I'm at work now, so I will continue this later. Hello and welcome back. Well, I didn't leave probably, but it is now the fourth and final part of the day. Oh, I should have recorded a bit earlier. I was having to drive to the store, grab something for work, but I forgot that I could have recorded. But I had to grab a voltage tester and outlet tester and an Ethernet tracer so that we can be ready to go for tomorrow. And that'll should be all good to go. Because I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but tomorrow we are getting a network switch and cables, and I am going to be setting up a patch panel into our main internet network at the new office. And so I am going to be just doing a whole lot of testing the internet and then testing all the speeds, but should be pretty fun actually for me. I enjoy working with IT stuff, so I'm gonna have a lot of fun, but we'll see if that lasts or if I get tired of doing it 50 different times. But at least for now, that's how many we got. It's a 48 port switch, and then there's a couple extra ports we need to fill, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I do want to do more IT stuff, so I'm glad I'm getting to do this and set it all up and test it, because it means that next time there's an IT problem, I'll have a little more intuition about it, especially if it's something going on with the internet at the new office, because I'll have the whole setup. I've noticed that I do talk about my work a lot more when I am doing something I enjoy, versus when I'm doing something that I am not a big fan of, I don't tend to talk about it as much, which is good when you do something you enjoy doing. There was some more rain this afternoon, and I accidentally closed my door with the door to my truck with the seat belt was stuck in the door, so the door didn't quite close all the way, and I didn't notice. And so there's just kind of a line of rainwater that got on my seat a tiny bit at the edge. It's not too bad, luckily, but yeah. This old truck's kind of leaky on the roof. The top's kind of rusting a little bit. I need to get up there and maintain it a little bit, but it's hard to keep up with everything. I need to just do a little bit of maintenance. I need to get a new inspection and registration, probably. Expires this month. But yeah. I wish I had a little more to talk about. I just completely lost my train of thought from earlier because it's been so many hours. But I just now remembered that I was talking about something about my dream house. Yeah, my wife and I were talking about our dream house, and so it was, I don't remember what exactly I was going off of the IT stuff. I enjoy kind of working on that and setting up the internet. And so building my dream house out, I think I would like to have a network closet, because you have like your utility closet with your electrical and all that. Well, I'd like to have a network closet so that I can set up a home network and have a little setup there. I'd like to figure out how to configure kind of a home server so I can store stuff there and back it up and not have to keep everything locally. And I also kind of had this idea to have a home network for HDMI as well, not just for the internet. And so I could, if I wanted to, I could plug in and control. Well, I guess you would need multiple ports, but pretty much my idea was have a whole setup so that I could have a desktop computer in like an office room or in a separate room that I could play games in on my own. Or I could hook it up in order to play games from another room using that same setup. So I wouldn't have to kind of go back and forth between rooms, and I could be in the room with my family and still be on my computer without moving the whole computer, because I'd like to get a nicer computer set up. And so like I could have a USB 3.2 output on the computer, and then have like maybe an HDMI output as well. I don't know for sure. I'd have to think about it, but that way I could set the screen, set a screen across the house up and have that USB 3.2 connection so that I could put a USB-C hub and then connect like a mouse and keyboard to it. That way I could from the other side of the house be playing wired to my computer. And I could even do like an audio jack or something if I wanted to with the USB 3.2. And so I could use that as kind of just have a hub I could plug in just that hub, and then use my mouse, keyboard, headset, and then hook up a screen, whatever screen I wanted into it. I feel like that'd be just fun for me to set up in the first place, but also I would just think it was a lot of fun to do. But I guess it'd be kind of difficult because you have to run wires through the whole house for all that. So maybe I'd do like a PVC pipe. That way the wires could only really go to one place. Get like a pretty thick PVC pipe and pipe it into the wall, and then have the wires come out there. Something like that could work. Could be fun. But I'd want it wired, not wireless. One, because wired works way faster. Way faster. It's the speed of electricity, which is very quick. But the wireless does not work as well as wired for speed and responsiveness, so all the way across the house. Anyway, that's all the time I got for today, so thank y'all for listening, and see y'all again tomorrow.